form as Kali. Kalima is the goddess of destruction. She assembles these demons together. First she attracts them. Just like it is said, when you throw out grains, when so many crows gather. For Durga Devi, she throws out some sense gratification, some opportunity for sense enjoyment. And the demons flock there. Oh, very nice. So many black crows. And then she tramples them, kills them. So this is her program in this age. Bringing the demons together for sense gratification and then crushing the life out of them. And this is going to increase more and more and more. Unless we surrender to Krishna. And we come under Krishna's protection. But if we don't surrender to Krishna, then we can already see humankind is very foolish. But still, they're noticing over the horizon of time, in the near future, there are many great catastrophes waiting just over the next horizon. Of course, we know that the energy supply is running out. The natural resources are being polluted, water, and air, and foodstuffs. There's this ozone hole opening up in the sky. So the unrestrained sunlight streams through these people. Cancer. Also, there are many new diseases which are now appearing. AIDS, the AIDS disease, is just one of them among many that they're just discovering. There's another one in which the flesh rots off, some kind of virus which dissolves the flesh. There's another one which turns the brain into a sponge with holes in it. The mad cow disease, which first it was a sheep disease, but then it jumped to cows. And now human beings, because they're so busily eating McDonald's hamburgers, they're at risk of this same disease jumping to human beings. Actually, the disease is already there. There already is a type of this disease which is known to strike human beings. But now, some scientists are very much worried because of the widespread cow eating that this disease is going to become a vast epidemic. And what happens when an animal, a human being, gets this disease is that he gradually becomes a zombie. Gradually, because the brain just becomes, like a sponge. With big Swiss cheese. With holes in it. And then the person gradually loses his motor functions. In the sheep form of this disease, it's called scrapies, in English anyway. Because these sheep, they end up, they have to prop themselves up in order to stand against some tree or fence post. And apparently because the whole nervous system is all screwed up, so they're covered with itching. They feel itching over their whole body. And so they scrape their body back and forth against the tree or fence post. And they keep scraping until the skin wears away and the flesh is opened up. They just keep scraping because they don't feel any pain. They just feel itching. And they'll just scrape away their flesh to the bone. They're not stopped. So if this disease spreads to human beings, then you can expect to see human beings doing the same thing in downtown Stockholm. And there are other diseases which are coming out. Killer diseases for which cures are not known, and old diseases which they thought they cured, like tuberculosis, which is a very dangerous disease. They thought they cured it. Now, new forms of tuberculosis are appearing, which are not affected by the cures, the medicines that we develop. So, and then there's speculation about these meteors and asteroids that they notice are coming closer and closer to Earth. They come suddenly zipping out of space, traveling 12 times faster than a rifle bullet. Rocks that are 1 kilometer across in size. The scientists, because they're that size, they cannot be seen from a great distance. Just suddenly, they see them in the telescopes, going by the Earth, a few thousand miles away. And there are big holes in the Earth's surface, from where in previous ages these things actually hit. So now scientists are worried about that too. These things are getting closer and closer. So, now of course no one can say, Prabhupada used to say, I'm not a prophet. But it's just common sense. It's not a question of prophecy. People go to prophets, astrologers, clairvoyant people to see what is the future. And sometimes they get a false story, sometimes they get a true story. But Srila Prabhupada, he said, I'm not a prophet. But we see things through Shastra Chakshush. And we see that this human population of Earth today is engaged in so many sinful activities, and there must be a reaction. So how the reaction will come, whether by the natural resources running out, and therefore this whole technological civilization coming to a grinding halt, or whether some terrible disease epidemic will suddenly spread over the whole world and kill millions and millions of people, or whether a meteor will fall on the Earth. They say if it falls into the ocean, and huge tidal waves miles high, will sweep onto the continents and flood everything. And then smoke and steam and debris will go up into the atmosphere and make the whole sky dark all around the world. And everything will become very cold. So whether this happens, or all these things happen, or something else happens that we cannot foresee at all. But we can say this for sure, that if humanity persists in committing these sinful activities, even after being offered the proper path, the proper goal, the proper way of human life by Lord Chaitanya's movement, then certainly there will be a reaction. This is the way of Daivikiation. This is what it is. So are there any questions? Yes, I have
Asking Vasudeva, I'm thinking, how was Vasudeva and Devaki related to Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj? They know each other before because they brought Krishna to Vrindavan.
Yes, they are members of the Rishni dynasty. They're related. That's explained in Krishna. They knew each other. That's why Vasudeva took Lord Krishna to Nanda to keep him with his good friend, Nanda Maharaj. Any other questions? Yeah.
If this world is destructed, what will happen to human form of life?
Human form of life?
Yeah.
Well, it is Krishna's plan that there be a human species. So it's not that any species of life actually becomes extinct, but they may disappear sometime, and then they reappear. Like even now, scientists, they discover species that they thought had become extinct, and they find them again, and they can't explain them. But these forms of life, there are 8,400,000 forms of life. And these are levels. these forms correspond to levels of consciousness that the soul goes through in his progress, birth after birth after birth. And of these 8,400,000 forms, the human form is actually most important. Why? Because it is the threshold of liberation. By proper use of this human form of life, the soul can leave the world of birth and death and enter the spiritual world. So this is Krishna's plan for the human form of life. This is what human form of life is meant for. So if we misuse the human form, we just become, as Prabhupada once said, says in one purport, a royal edition of the animals. We just use this body to imitate the animals. Then humanity will certainly be punished. And yes, perhaps many human beings will be exterminated. But there will always be human beings. This form of life is a very important part of Krishna's plan. In the Satyuga, the earliest age of the four cyclical ages, there were very few human beings on this planet. But they were real human beings. They knew what the proper purpose of human life was. Therefore, although there were very few, the human population on earth at that time, they were all perfect yogis. They were all pure, saintly persons, living very, very simply. They had no need even to build cities. They lived in the forest, in complete harmony with nature. And they used, actually their lifespan was very, very long, 100,000 years. And they used those years for contemplation, for inward meditation. So this is actually what this life is meant for. Now in the Kali Yuga, there are many dvipada pashus, these two-legged animals, running around creating havoc. So like so many insects, they have to be controlled by the exterminator. Anything else? Yes?
Maharaj, you mentioned about the green things that can happen if man changes his ways. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also predicted that 10,000 years of golden age preparation. So
Yes, that 10,000 years is there for those who are willing to take the Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone will take it, although that's what we want. Srila Prabhupada in a very early lecture, he explained that Maya and this Krishna consciousness movement actually are working together. That we are saying, Prabhupada said, we are saying, surrender to Krishna, come and serve him. And Maya Devi is saying, no, don't do that. Come and enjoy it. And then I will kick you. So for those who think that Krishna consciousness is not for me, I want something else out of life, then Maya says, come on. And then she beats them. So the purpose of this, actually Maya is our mother. Material nature is our mother. She gave us this body. So just like a mother punishes her child to correct him. But this is what Maya Devi is doing. So those who get some sense knocked into their heads, those who actually realize that by not surrendering to Krishna I'm only suffering, then if they take up this movement, yes, they will enter the golden age that manifests in the midst of this Kali Yuga. Just like now, in our present civilization, global civilization, there are some nations on earth which are outstanding, which are wealthy, which are the leaders. And everybody else, the poorer countries, the third world, I travel a lot. So they emulate these very powerful America, or also Sweden is one of them. I don't know about anymore, but used to be. Such wealthy, influential countries are emulated by others. So those who are actually living in these very wealthy countries, they're just a small portion of the population. So similarly, this golden age means that the culture of Krishna consciousness will become the predominant culture of Earth. Because as we see, this materialistic culture, it is now collapsing. Because these people have gratified their senses to the point of complete stupidity. They're starting to, their whole, what to say, the whole form of their intellect, that has evolved in this Western European civilization. There's been an evolving of the intellect to a certain point, and now that is coming undone. So society is actually breaking down, and people don't know what to do about it. They don't know how to stop it. Because they cannot control their senses. This is the thing. On the one side, they're being told, they're being informed, as we explained, these dangers are there, coming. And we must do something. But they can't stop. Can't stop these sinful activities. So this whole materialistic civilization is coming to an end. It's collapsing. So according to the Vedic scriptures and acharyas, this materialistic civilization will be step by step replaced by the Vedic or Vaishnava, Krishna conscious civilization. That will become the predominant civilization. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody in the world is going to be part of that civilization, but it will be predominant, it will be influential. So that will be auspicious for the whole planet. Those, if others emulate, just like now when I go to, I remember years ago I went to, visited Burma. Burma is a very isolated country, which is about 50 years behind. Even India. It's behind India. And even there, I saw young men wearing baseball caps and Rambo t-shirts. So somehow or other they tried to imitate America, USA. It's ridiculous, actually, in that context especially. But America is great, at least for now. So everyone likes to imitate a great thing. So by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, the culture of Krishna consciousness will become great. And those who even just imitate from a distance, they will be so much benefit. As we said, just the desire to serve God is enough to liberate. So this is our hope. Prabhupada said we work together actually with Maya. We are preaching, come and surrender to Krishna, and Maya is kicking them. Any other questions? Yes? Well, as I said, there's this jadarasa, this taste for dead material pleasures, because we have lived so many lifetimes of sense gratification. This conditioning is very strong. But this sadhana bhakti, this way of life, Krishna conscious way of life, is in the pure mode of goodness. So if we simply take to it, if we simply remain in the association of devotees and execute our devotional service, then by this practice, this jadarasa will be vanquished. And Krishna bhakti rasa will grow stronger and stronger in the heart. That means we'll actually start to realize that real happiness, our real self-interest is in serving Krishna. In the beginning, sometimes there's this duality. We think, yes, serving Krishna is nice, but if I really want to be happy, there's sense gratification. This is the problem. And that's, it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But sadhana means practice. Just like, I gave the example of my sister learning the violin. So at the beginning it was terrible. I remember at home I used to close my door when she would take out the violin. It sounded so bad. But she kept practicing. And gradually she became better. I won't say she actually became good. She was better. Or when we learn to drive a car. So in the beginning, the practice stage, it's actually terrifying experience. We're very afraid. I just happened to see in Copenhagen, when we were coming from the airport, there was obviously one of those cars with the L on top, learning cars, and obviously the person was a very new student, driving very slow near the edge of the road. So it's almost like a torture at that stage. But the teacher is there, reassuring, no, it's all right. Keep trying. And gradually, by practice, the person becomes used to driving. And then in the end, driving becomes fun. It's completely natural. And one thinks, after one has the license, how could I live without a car? In the beginning, one thinks, this is so hard, this is so bad, driving a car. I can't imagine that I'll ever be able to do this right. And after one has the license, it's completely natural. So that's the secret. One has to practice and be persistent. Not give up. Yes?
So does this mean that everybody can learn to drive? Or that everybody can become Krishna conscious? Or is there some person who doesn't have the ability to?
By the mercy of the devotee, everyone can become Krishna conscious. But it's a question of taking it on. I often tell that story of Srila Prabhupada praising one of his disciples in the early days of the movement. It was I think it was in the temple, so there were other disciples present. But Srila Prabhupada was particularly pleased with one of his disciples and said to him, "You have progressed very nicely." And then this disciple very humbly replied, "Srila Prabhupada, it is all by your mercy." And Prabhupada replied, "My mercy is for everyone, but you are taking. So that is your credit." So, by the pure devotee's mercy, as Prabhupada said, everybody can become Krishna conscious, but it's just a question of who takes it. And that is a matter of choice. By coming in contact with the pure devotee, we come in contact with the choice again. To leave mind, to leave this world of darkness, and come into the light of Krishna consciousness. Go back home and God. So it is up to us. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of some creatures, when the sun comes, Krishna Surya Sun, Krishna is like the sun, Krishna consciousness movement is like the sunshine, it's very beautiful. But there are some people, some creatures that don't like the sun, they don't like the light. As soon as the sun comes, they head for the caves. Find some dark place to hide themselves. So that's what they want. And that's Maya's business, to give them what they want. You want to remain in darkness? All right, come. I will keep you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.